Hello and welcome to The Bar is Loaded Bitesize Episode 2. This week, you've of course got me, Chris Howard, and again, Mr. Adam Roberts. How are you, sir?
Hello there. Very good, very good. Getting on.
Trying to.
Yeah.
So, obviously, this weekend, we have had Tom Stoltman's stone record. So, again, we're here to discuss that. So, first thoughts?
Well, I don't want to say it was easy, but it was a bit easy. it looked comfortable, and it was one of those where going into it, I think you just knew he had it. Like there was no, little bit of drama going. Oh, will he? Won't he? Like with the log, although Luke looked strong on log, it was always a bit up in the air. There was a chance he was going to miss with this. It looked like there was no doubt
No.
that this was going to go over the implement. So I don't know. There was less. I don't want to say it was less entertaining because of that, but there wasn't that little bit of drama watching it that made you kind of go. I don't know. I was just watching it going, it's a foregone conclusion. He's got this. Like,
Yeah.
I don't need to. I wasn't worried for him the same way I was Luke. I don't know. What did you think of that?
Yeah, I can definitely agree with you on that. I mean, we said it on the last Bite-sized episode, there's three things that are certain in life: death, taxes, and Tom Stoltman getting a stone record. It was always a certain, and, Tom is the best in the world, and this just cements him as the best in the world at stone lifting. So the doubt was never there. And I think, if anything, this looked easier than the one he got at the Rogue Invitational. That was 13 kilos lighter, and it looked fucking 26 kilos lighter on the 286. It just looked 10 times easier. It was mad.
Yeah, he is ridiculous. It surprises me that he never uses like squat shoes or anything to get that little height advantage. I know he's already nearly 7 foot tall, the freak, so he doesn't need that much of a height advantage. But
Stupid arms.
and he's probably got 7 foot wingspan, hasn't he? Mad bastard. But yeah, it's just surprising because if you look at his feet when he's in the lap, it doesn't maybe look as stable as it could. He's wearing Converse. I don't think the Converse are the best. I know it's sacrilege to say that Converse aren't the best lifting shoe ever, seeing as they're like the most popular lifting shoe ever. But yeah, it's just other than that, technique-wise, he's spot on. He's flawless with the stones. It's just like you say, he's just the best in the world at it. I think one of the points that was made by Loz was, one of the heaviest stones we've had at the end of a run recently was 225 at Worcester last year,
Yeah.
and I think it was just Brian and it might have just been Brian Shaw and Tom that actually got that last stone, or maybe one or two. I think it was just those two.
Yeah.
We're talking a stone that's 61 kilos heavier. There's no one in the world that's going to catch up to that.
No.
It's ridiculous. I think it just kind of puts into perspective that the kind of weights other pros start struggling around is the 220 mark for the majority of pros. And here's Tom, who has been pro for only a few years now, doing 286. Like that's an impressive deadlift.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. And to have like an implement that's just this solid mound just in the middle, it's just ridiculous. And he's already said that 300 kilo stone is going to happen. Who's going to doubt it? No one's going to doubt it.
Absolutely not. I mean, you probably heard Luke egging him on at the end to go for a second rep. Just I don't know if a second rep would have happened just with how slow. I mean, it didn't look bad, but like that transition as he started coming up from the lap position, that's always the hardest spot, and that is where you just feel like you're dying. and that bit looked slow. Once he got past that kind of couple of inches, it looked comfortable. But there was a second or two where, I don't know, it looked a bit difficult. But like you say, it's just a solid block of concrete, and anything else that they've filled it to kind of help bring the weight up. I just think anyone who's not done a stone lift before doesn't appreciate how hard it is and what he's just done. You know, you compare that to, like, people think, oh, well, you know, there are people out here deadlifting 501 kilos. There's a person out here who's done that. But, you know, and this is a 286 stone, but until you've done it and tried it, you really don't know how hard picking up a stone is. It's something else. It's a deficit stiff leg deadlift with something that does not want to be picked up.
Yeah.
At all.
No, there's so many different things, like with the stone lift, and like you say, until you've done it, I feel like you can't truly appreciate this record and appreciate how insane it is. You know, saying 286 kilos is a lot. You know,
Yeah.
seeing a big stone looks heavy, but until you've done a stone lift, you do not appreciate how much that is. I mean, like, you know, we've both got the same PB on stone of 120. You know, that 140 stone that we've got in the gym is a fucking absolute beast. And that's not even half the weight of the one that he's just lifted. And it's insane.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you look at a lot of even really good amateur guys, they're all hovering around like the 180 mark.
Yeah.
You know, I've got a few people in mind here who we know or we've met, even locally, and they're big, strong guys, and they're doing around the 180 mark. And, you know, Tom's a young guy, and it's 100 kilos more. Some people will struggle to pick up 100-kilo stone. So, like, I'm just trying to imagine that 180 stone. Okay, and you know what 100 kilos feels like? Imagine 100 kilos on top. It's just, it's fucking stupid.
Yeah,
absolutely. It is stupid. I mean, I don't think yours or my arms would even go round it.
No. I mean, look at the size of that we've got. Like, I'm pretty certain my arms will never go around that. But
yeah, it's just, it's hard to. I mean, I'm trying to imagine what it would be like to stand next to the fucking thing.
Yeah,
and it just doesn't seem right that anyone could pick that up. Do you know what I mean? And I mean, they checked they checked the height of it. So it was 48 inches, which I think is our lowest platform that we have.
Yeah,
is 48 inches in the gym. So at least we've got that kind of reference for how high it was. I mean, it was barely past his fucking belly button because he's so tall.
Yeah.
But you know, it's about 4 foot. A reasonable height, I think, for a stone that heavy. You know, we've seen a lot of the higher platforms used for much lighter stones in a stone series. I'm kind of glad that the record height is so low.
Yeah,
it just gives you a fighting chance. Rules wise, there wasn't much to there's not that much to talk about. There weren't that many rules imposed. It was an easy job for the juniors this time around, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the one thing that I did like that, obviously, I think now is something we will probably implement ourselves in the gym is if you touch the platform, then it doesn't count. I think that's a fair one. And obviously, that was the same one that he had in the thing that obviously if you touch the implement, then it didn't count. And you know, I put it out there.
So that's an interesting one. You agree with that? That's an interesting one because, I mean, we've both done it. We've seen it at competitions locally, amateur. We've seen it in pro comps on stone series. People using the platforms to steady themselves because they've lost their balance in the lap. Seen it many times in comps doing a stone over, where you'll kind of get the stone level with the crossbar of the yoke, grab the yoke itself and kind of use your chest to shove it over. So I don't know. I'm not with you on that one. I think if it's a record attempt like this, I mean, okay, we could talk about if we're talking gym records, and we're talking about like Taylor's gym records. Okay, maybe then we do, but I think you can't take that support away from people. There'll be riots.
No.
I think it was an interesting touch. It was an interesting touch, and I think it was one of the few things that they could, one of the few rules they could impose on it to kind of make it seem a bit more legitimate. Because otherwise, it was literally going to be a case of he puts it over or he doesn't.
Yeah, definitely.
Simple as there was no, other than the height and everything and making sure the stone was weighed, there would have been nothing else to kind of use to kind of legitimize the record a bit more. Not that there would be any doubts of it being legitimate, but I think it's nice to see another proper strongman record, like log, stones, doubles, not just deadlift. The sport is more than the deadlift, and it needs to stay that way. But it's nice to see some cool events. Do you know what? I've just thought it would have been really nice if they could have got the Husafell and don't try to go for a Husafell record. Because that's in legend. That is a legend, and that'd be a pretty cool. See if anybody could take half Thor's record on that. Oh, I really want to see that now.
Well, you never know. They're still announcing things, aren't they? So even now, they're still announcing things in this feat of strength. So you never know, it could do.
Yeah.
Who knows? They might listen to a small podcast and think, do you know what, lads? That's a great idea.
Mark Boyd's just going through his Spotify and all his Podbean and all that, and he's going, "Ooh, there's a thought."
There you go. But yes, I guess like other points to make is the implements were absolutely beautiful. Atlas Endurance outdid themselves with those stones. They look fucking amazing.
Yeah, they look fantastic. They'd clearly been treated maybe with some tacky just to give it that shine.
Yeah, I think
I know that's what the Slater stones do.
Yeah, they've been buffed with the resin. So so that helps. That beautiful bit of wood that it went over, insane. I want one.
Yeah, lovely. We speculated last time whether it was going to be a custom job or whether they were just borrowing the road one, because you couldn't really tell from the promo stuff. And it was custom made for them. They had the name engraved in. That was a nice little touch. So hopefully we'll see more records go over from Tom on that, because I mean, if it was a one-time use thing, it'd be a bit of a waste.
Yeah, a little bit.
So he's kind of got to do the 300. What I thought was interesting was the fact that they asked him how long he thinks it'll take to get to 300, and his answer was 10 to 12 weeks. Give me 10 to 12 weeks and I'll do it. It's like, fucking hell.
I think that was a little plug though, because literally the next day he released his 10 to 12 week stone program, so that could have been
yeah, that's a very good point. But I'd like to see it. I think it sounds ridiculous, but at the same time, I think he could do that in 12 weeks.
Definitely.
I think he's there. I mean, the speed off the floor into the lap, on the replay, on the very slight slow-mo replay, you can see the stone kind of spun back in his hands a little bit as he was getting towards the lap. So I think, not that he got lucky to get it, because his technique is very good, but I'd need to watch a few more to see if he always deliberately spins it back rather than pulling it to the lap. It's one of those, there's a bit of risk reward. You'll know yourself, if you start letting it spin back too early, it's just going to crash into your knees and you're not going to get it into the lap. There was he kind of twisted a little bit on the way up.
Certainly not as much as the 273 though. Like that was quite a dramatic.
Not as much as that, yeah. which, I don't really think is that beneficial. Maybe it's just the case of he's trying to get as close as possible to the platform, or in this case, the beam to go over. That maybe he's worried he's going to just catch it on the edge and get stuck. So he's just twisting a little bit just to make sure he can clear it. I don't know. He very nearly hit his head on it.
He did it his head on the way up.
Did he? Yeah.
Yeah,
I thought it was close, but yeah. So that just goes to show how close you need to get to it. I think we've all done it a few times, haven't we?
Yeah.
With the yoke.
Definitely. I've done it more than a few times. It's a painful thing. That's on a metal bar. This is a massive solid bit of wood that was sharp. I can't imagine that was.
Yeah, that especially with the bleached blonde hair. I think you'd have noticed if he'd caught it too quickly.
But that was something I actually quite liked about Loz's commentary. Is he said that over yoke is so much harder than a platform. Like I've said that for like ever since I've done stones. Like that for me is what I've always said, that over yoke is so much harder than onto a platform. So it's actually quite nice for a pro to finally like address that, because fucking to me, it's just a different ball game completely.
Yeah, I mean, well, I don't know if I find it that much harder just because I started doing stone over yoke. We didn't have the platforms when I first started doing stones. So my first foray into stone loading was over a yoke. So I think I just got used to doing it like that. So even when it took me a while to change my technique for loading onto a platform versus over. So I was still going onto a platform like I was dunking it over a yoke and kind of not just launching it and making sure it didn't go through the wall. So I think that there is a slight difference on technique when you're looking at how to be as efficient as possible. I can see where that would be more difficult for most people if they've only ever gone onto a platform and then you got a comp coming up and it's over a yoke. But I kind of found it the other way around. I think it's just whatever you're exposed to first. If you get good going over a yoke, you're gonna find a platform a little bit more awkward. It's a little bit more off-putting, especially when you're kind of sat at the bottom, heavy stone in your lap, and you're just looking up at this thing, a monolith in front of you, going, "Oh fuck."
Yeah,
especially some of the platform heights we've seen. I know you had one that was like at head height.
Yeah,
you've
the Strength
managed to
Asylum
load
ones,
to
they're
it.
very
Strength Asylum, yeah. Ridiculous.
Yeah,
it's not an event for short people, is it?
No, it's not an event for a 5'7" man with glasses and a beard. But I will make it my event.
An extra from Lord of the Rings as a dwarf. I think you'd make a good dwarf.
I mean, yeah.
I think you'd make a very good dwarf.
I've been called worse, mate, so I'll take that. Speaking of Lord of the Rings people, we go on to Mr. Elfears himself, Alexei Novikov, who is indeed doing the dumbbell record this weekend.
Yeah, how heavy's the dumbbell again?
100 kilos, and it's as many reps in 75 seconds.
75. Okay, yeah, that's a reasonable amount of time. It's 100 kilos in one arm. So the dumbbell's a weird one, isn't it? It's a lot of skill and technique over actual brute strength. I mean, we've seen this with like, a lot of the guys, like Kielishkovsky, not as, say, strong static. Not that he's not a strong presser, but not as strong as some others who eclipses them on something like a circus dumbbell. Purely because his technique is perfect, and Novikov does have pretty good technique. Was it Brian Shaw he was up against at Worlds?
Yes, right.
And he looked very strong on the dumbbell at Worlds. I can't remember the weight, but he looked good at that event. You know, there are some people you just watch at an event and go, okay, they've put time into this. They're not just muscling it up. They know what they're doing. It's so awkward when you've got that dumbbell. I mean, they're fucking huge anyway. So just balancing with it is awkward enough. And then it is a lot of speed and precision. It's a parlor trick. At the end of the day, it's like a little party trick, isn't it? It's less of a test of strength, more a test of skill, but still, again, like we said with the stone, it's a really good strongman lift in an event. So it'll be nice to see another,
definitely
proper strongman record. You know, the Maddox bench press is going to be crazy, but obviously that's not a strongman record. The deadlift, I don't know. We don't want strongman to just become about deadlift, so I think seeing these other record attempts is sweet. I'm really looking forward to seeing Rhiannon's
definitely
stone record. You know, she's ridiculously fucking strong, so it'd be cool to see that. Yeah, just it's been a really good event. I'm really glad that WUS have put this on for us, because as strongman fans, there's not much else to look forward to right now. We don't know if we're going to get a Worlds this year. It's still not 100% confirmed.
Yeah.
You know, we've just seen arguably one of the greatest strongmen of all time retire.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much. You know, we haven't talked about that. He basically said he's announcing his retirement on a Twitch stream, Thor.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily the best time for strongman right now.
No, definitely not. But yeah, like you say, what's putting this on is great for the sport. You know, with all the controversy that's going on, you know, fucking the Eddie Thor, the fight bullshit, and all the shitty words, and obviously, like you say, Thor retiring. It's nice that at least WUS are keeping it real, so to speak. Like, you know,
keeping that competition there, keeping the entertainment there. Like, at the end of the day, I think what a lot of people tend to forget is strongman was entertainment before it was a sport.
Yeah.
You know, not even just talking about world's strongest man, but like, you know, seeing big freaks at fucking carnivals and circuses doing strongman style shit, you know, bending bars, like old school strongman shit, you know, doing one arm lifting and stuff like that. Like, it was always entertainment. So I think people need to remember that what WUS are doing right now is providing the fans entertainment.
Yeah.
Is it part of the competitive sport as a whole? Maybe not, but it was always entertainment first, sports. Like, World's Strongest Man, it's a TV show.
Yeah.
Before a competition, and that's the way it has always been. And I think, you know, a lot of the fans need to remember what strongman is. It's a cool thing that we watch, and the fact that there's competition makes it even better. But, you know, especially for the athletes. But it's just nice to have something to watch. You know, I know there's some football going on around the world now, whether you agree with it or not. You know, there's not a lot in the way of like weightlifting and powerlifting going on, especially not sanctioned, and there's no gravitas around it. There's no show about it. At least we've got something. You know, the quality of the streams from the Stoltmans has been great.
Yep.
You know, the interviews beforehand, it was great hearing Tom talk about himself a little bit. You know, I don't know if there may have been people out there who weren't aware that Tom is autistic, and this is something that he's had to kind of work with and get around when it comes to like even just dealing with other competitors at competition. And you know, you think he's got thousands of people screaming at him, and he's got a job to do in a comp. It is amazing, and it is a good role model for a lot of people. So it was really cool. It was again a nice touch. I wish they'd done a bit more of that in the Thor one. I hope we get a bit more of that with Alexi, although they might want to just do it in Ukrainian and translate it, because I know
he's not the most comfortable English speaker, is he?
He's not the most confident on camera a lot of the time, which can make him seem a little bit cold, but I think it'd be nice for people to actually get to know the athletes a bit better. So I hope that with Rhiannon they do the same, with Julius they do the same, that we've got that same production value and don't let, ESPN take it over and and make it trash.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to it. What's your predictions? How many reps is he going to get?
Oof. I mean, it's a hard one. My thing with Alexi is he's very good in smaller comps. So I think something like this, he'll excel at. And then obviously you look at the likes of Wuss. He didn't have the greatest comp. Worlds had a shit comp. I think this for him is the platform that he probably can excel at. Rep-wise, hard to say. I wouldn't even want to guess. I'd hope double figures for him, but who knows? But yeah, no, I think certainly being a smaller stage is going to be, preferable for him.
Yeah, I can see that. So you think he kind of crumbles under pressure a little bit?
A little bit, yeah. And don't get me wrong, I'm a huge Novikov fan, but big comps just aren't his thing at the minute. He'll get there. He certainly will. Like, he's got the absolute gift, but at the minute, something just doesn't click in big comps.
I think what a lot of people need to remember is about Alexei is he's very young, and he was an amateur 3 years ago, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He got his spot at the Arnold by winning the Arnold Amateurs. So he is not the biggest guy in the room always, compared to some of the other blokes. He's not as big. He is young. He's still pretty raw. He's still in that phase of competing constantly, like a lot of the older, more seasoned pros, just like they did when they were his age. Pretty much competing every weekend, or at least once, twice a month, which is unreal. Competition's just become another just competition training day, I suppose, at that point. But once you do get to these bigger stages, the pressure is there, and you're right, he's probably not had the time to get used to that, like some of the vets. You guys like Brian and Jeff Caron, who just seem to show up on game day really relaxed. So yeah, you're right, he probably will feel a lot more comfortable. So that'll be nice to see a confident Novikov going for an event that he's good at. It should be a show. I'm looking forward to it. I hope nothing goes awry for him, because this will be hopefully quite an interesting watch. And he's a good athlete to watch. He's got a good future in the sport. A lot of the young guys, it's unreal. Even including Martins in this, they're a lot smaller. They're a lot more agile. They're a lot faster. They look healthier. It's a good time to be a strongman fan. Would you kind of compare this to what a lot of people think is like the heyday of strongman in terms of like the
definitely, like in terms
competition?
Yeah, like you say, like the competitions at the minute are just amazing, and I think now, we spoke about it on the Strongman podcast a few weeks ago, is that we're coming into the point now where there's quite a few different body shapes, and we're seeing it more and more now that different body shapes favor different events, which was always going to be the case, but we've never seen it. We've always just seen big football guys that are trying to adapt to a different thing, whereas now we're physically seeing these differences of like you say, the slimmer, faster guys are obviously meant at moving events, but then you've got these the classic strongman that are just sick at the static things. So it's you can't argue. It's the absolute heyday, and it's only going to get better and better, really.
Do you think the playing field's going to be a little bit more evened out with Thor retiring?
Yeah, definitely.
Because a lot of people will kind of say, "Oh, he's not the best thing that strongman's ever seen." I'd say he is arguably the strongest human that we've ever seen, like all round strongest guy we've ever seen yet. But I just think it's sad to see him go because he is such a good athlete. But it should open up the gates a little bit for some of especially the younger guys. I mean, if you look, Kielszkowski and Tom have been doing very, very well recently, and they're still very young. Martin's obviously won World Strongest Man once. Kielszkowski has been on the podium more often recently, which is nice to see. You know, a lot of people are saying he's the next kind of potential future world's strongest man.
Agreed.
It'll be interesting to see what kind of vacuum Thor's departure leaves, and how the other guys kind of jockey for that number one spot now. Like who's going to put their stamp on? Like, I am the number one strongman at the moment. I am the top dog, as it were.
Yeah.
Who's your money on? Mine's on Kielszkowski.
It's got to be
dominant.
Yeah, it's got to be. You know, like you say, you look at all his podiums lately, just his training, just everything. Like it's been coming for years, but now it's just clicking, and yeah, it's going to be the Kielszkowski dominance. You know, we had Puds in the 90s. We're going to have Kielszkowski in the 20s. Fact.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I agree, 100%.
There you go.
So we'll have to see how Novikov does on Saturday. Then is it? Is it this Saturday?
It is.
It's every week now, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it's every weekend now. Yeah. So Excellent. There you go. We will reconvene next week, and we will discuss that then.
Yeah, absolutely.
Beautiful. Thank you again for your time, sir. Thank you all for listening.
As always, pleasure.
And we will see you next week. Peace out, A-Time down.
Really good set.
Do it, mate.
See you later, dude.